Welcome to the kill-death ratio, where I count every kill and every death. Today, I'm playing The Last of Us Part 1. Its cast of characters, intricate world, emotionally layered narrative, with its mix of stealth, survival elements, and combat are blended so perfectly it keeps me coming back to play again and again. Developed by Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann at Naughty Dog, it was originally released on the PlayStation 3 in 2013, then remastered for the PlayStation 4 in 2014, and now remade in 2022 for the PlayStation 5 to loads of criticism. Was it necessary to remake it? No, I don't think so, because I played the remaster last year and it holds up just fine. However, the remake is beautiful, and it's the definitive way to experience the original game, especially if you've never played it before. So let's get into it. I select moderate difficulty as we open with a shot of Sarah Miller asleep on the couch as Joel rudely wakes his daughter up with boring work talk.
What are you still doing up? It's late.
What do you mean, man? You just woke her up.
Honey, please not right now. I do not have the energy for this.
Kinda your fault, Joel, but you get a sick birthday watch out of it. Just don't ask how she bought it.
I sell hardcore drugs.
Eventually, she passes out listening to the incredible music of first-time video game composer Gustavo Santaolalla, who agreed to the job because of its emphasis on story and characters, and I'm glad he did because the music adds so much to the overall experience. Again, Sarah is rudely woken up prematurely, but this time by her uncle Tommy, who calls in a panic. The line is suddenly cut short, and since no one wants her to sleep, it's time to wake up and look for Dad. One of the things I adore about this game is the small details Naughty Dog includes in the environment. They give you a reason to explore every nook and cranny of the game, whether you're looking for items to aid in your journey, notes and journals that add atmosphere, or collectibles for all you trophy hunters out there. We continue searching for Joel when the TV catches our eye and an explosion rings out nearby. Eventually, we go downstairs into the study when Joel enters and immediately starts loading his gun. He says the neighbors are sick and not in a cool way as Mr. Cooper rushes them and Joel guns him down. They head out the front door as Sarah tries to cope with what just happened, and luckily for us, our Uber is outside and Uncle Tommy is our driver. Come on, Sarah, put on your seatbelt. This drive serves as a bit of an introduction to the quickly deteriorating events happening in Austin, Texas, and throughout the country and world. Case in point, as we get T-boned and Sarah can't walk because she didn't freaking buckle up. Joel carries her, and our trio goes on the run as chaos continues all around us. We split from the crowd as more infected chase us. Tommy stays back to protect us from the mob, but more of them pop up. We're suddenly saved as our pursuers are gunned down, but the soldier is given orders to take aim. With impeccable timing, Tommy saves Joel from death, but the damage has already been done to Sarah, and in one of the most gut-wrenching, soul-crushing scenes in any video game, all we can do is watch Joel's daughter pass in his arms as Troy Baker's performance rings home the sense of loss.
Please don't.
We get a title card and the credits play as several news reports detail the infection spreading worldwide and of a new group called the Fireflies that emerge as governments begin to break down. We pick up 20 years later in the summer of 2033 as Joel is woken prematurely because no one is allowed to sleep in this game. We're introduced to Tess, and right away we get the sense that she's tough as nails as she's navigating a dangerous world on her own and taking on some deadly people.
Are these assholes still with us?
That's funny.
Joel's not a fan of that, so we take control of him in search of Robert, an arms dealer that owes us some goddamn weapons. However, shit is popping off today in the Boston quarantine zone, so it won't be as easy as walking through the gate towards our target. Instead, we take the long way around and grab our stuff, and in this moment, I accidentally shot the weapon instead of reloading it, and just look at Tessa's face. It's fucking killing me. I think she regrets bringing my inept ass along right now. The next few minutes introduces us to the mechanics of the game when we encounter this poor sap, who we can choose to leave and let him turn into a monster, or we can be merciful and give this man the honor of the first kill of the game. With all the spores around, we inevitably come across some infected. These forms are called runners, the stage 1 infected that are basically fast zombies similar to the ones in 28 Days Later. I slowly approach the first one and sneakily take it out. Two runners feast on a fresh body, and as I grab one around the neck to serve as a shield, the other one knocks him loose and Joel is left standing there like he's still holding him. Due to the glitch, I'm left standing there hugging air until one of them lunges at me and knocks me loose of that animation. I punch his lights out and almost die here, but I regain my composure on the steps and finish off the other one. Eventually we exit into an encampment that fucking sucks because I can't bring one of these good boys with me. But I do get to witness a fight club, so I guess that's kinda cool. The people here greet Tess with open arms, but don't take too kindly to Joel. Come on, give me that giraffe. After unsuccessfully trying to get the cute giraffe from that selfish little girl, we come face to face with three of Robert's men who are just plain disrespectful.
Bitch, I will bash your skull unless you turn around and get your dumb ass out of here.
Hell yeah, Tess, don't take no shit. I go around the side and sloppily kill one while Tess takes out the other. Further along, we encounter another couple guys, and like the dynamic duo that we are, she takes one out while I stealthily kill the other. We do it again for a key, and then continue into the warehouse where I bump my kill count into double digits. As we progress, we gain recipes for craftable items such as shivs, molotovs, and customized weapons that are essential to survival throughout the game. We emerge from the warehouse onto the docks and spot our target. As many times as I've played this game, I've never actually completed this part without alerting at least one person to my presence, but this time I kill them all like a regular everyday Sam Fisher. Well, almost all of them. Then our boy Robert takes off after trying to shoot us, but we easily chase him down to interrogate him about the weapons he owes us. He admits to selling them to the Fireflies and pleads for his life to make it right, but instead Tess double taps him as a prominent member of the Fireflies rounds the corner. We cut a deal with Marlene to smuggle something out of the city in return for the weapons, then follow her and kill 5 more men along the way. Finally, we reach Marlene's hideout when she falls to her knees due to her injury and another party comes in to attack. We're introduced to Ellie, voiced brilliantly by Ashley Johnson, and the person we're tasked with smuggling out of Boston. She's rightfully distrustful of us and needs convincing, and it's here we learn Tommy joined the Fireflies and met Marlene sometime after the world spiraled out of control. We part ways briefly. Marlene and Tess go to the Firefly camp so Tess can verify the weapons, and Joel and Ellie pair up to sneak out to the rendezvous point. Like any kid thrust upon another adult that isn't their parent, all Ellie does is annoy Joel early on. He shows little patience for her as we move undetected to the apartment where we pass the time until Tess shows up, only for us to turn around and promptly leave. Joel gets a butt to the head as a couple guards ambush them and check for infection. Ellie's temperature is set to spicy when she turns around and stabs the guy in his knee, prompting Joel and Tess to take them out. Then we find out Ellie was bitten on the arm 3 weeks prior and is yet to turn, but the conversation stalls as more armed guards approach. We jump into a ditch and sneak our way through, dodging the guards' lights. Later on, we find ourselves in some ruins, surrounded by more people, and I fail to sneak up on one of them, so I whip out my handgun and kill him the old-fashioned way and then sprint my ass right the fuck out of there. Finally, we escape the QZ and wind up in a crumbling skyscraper filled with freshly killed people and infected. We come up on a clicker for the first time, and through Ellie's curiosity, we learn that the cordyceps fungus has advanced so much it made them blind, so they use echolocation to seek out their prey. Not long after that, we get an up close and personal look at one of them as it tackles Joel to the ground and Tess fucks it up like the boss she is. A floor above, another clicker gets way too close for comfort, and instead of wasting resources, I toss a brick the other way so we can sneak around it. Bricks and bottles are a super useful tool in this series. Utilizing them is essential for survival. Are you brick gang or bottle gang? Comment down below what your preference is. This moment is our first real encounter with the infected, as there are a few runners and a single clicker wandering around. I eliminate the first one easily and then alert the second one to my presence, causing this Benny Hill chase sequence I end with my handgun. As we continue our adventure throughout the ruined building, we drop down into a subway station populated with a lot of enemies. Using a bottle, I toss it away from our location to draw nearby enemies, then follow it up with another couple bottles, but this time of the flaming variety. This bumps my kill total up by 6. Despite that noise, a few more infected remain undisturbed, so I take out the 2 runners and the last clicker before heading back outside to ground level. To proceed here, we need to climb over this bus, but inside there are 3 more runners who seem to be minding their own business, but their business is my business, so they wind up on the count. And we move this big ass box outside to climb over the bus with. Shortly after that, a mob of infected rush us, and in the nick of time, we climb under the shuttered door with a souvenir.
You got something on your shoe.
Further along inside a museum, we get split up as the old rotten wood breaks and blocks Tess and Ellie on the other side. 3 clickers stand in my way, and I make the regrettable choice of staying put for too long as it clicks in my general direction and bites my throat for my first death. I reload and attempt another distraction technique, but only one dumb clicker falls for it, so I go balls out and gun down the other 2 with my revolver. I run upstairs and dispatch this raging sumbitch and bust in on Tess, kicking ass as usual, but Ellie is in need of help, so we race into the next room and quickly add the remaining infected to the count. Now that we aren't avoiding death for once, we climb up to the roof and can appreciate the serenity. Finally, we reach the Capitol building, only to find the Fireflies we were supposed to meet have been killed, sending Tess into a panic. Joel questions her motives.
This is my last stop.
What?
Yeah, what? Oh. She hopes for an end to all this misery and buys into the chance that a vaccine can be produced and convinces Joel to escort Ellie to Tommy and find the Fireflies out west. More soldiers pull up, cutting the goodbye short. Tess stays behind to buy us time in another heartbreaking moment.
Come on. Make this easy for me.
Joel and Ellie split off, and moments later we hear gunshots echo out, and as we re-enter the room on the second floor, we listen in and find out she took a couple guys with her. I wouldn't expect anything less from that absolute badass. With our party one member short, we're forced to fight our way out of the Capitol. We pick up a new weapon and get to work taking out 10 men before heading back outside and into the subway. Ellie pulls Joel aside, proving yet again she's immune as she's sniffing spores like we're at Yankee Candle. I kill another 2 guys, and then we progress further into the tunnel and come out the other side. Joel gives Ellie a stern fatherly talk and hashes out the next plan, to find a man named Bill and get a car from him. After a brief hike, we enter Lincoln, Massachusetts, where a couple clickers are waiting for unsuspecting passersby, but I've been here before and waste no time setting them ablaze. Another thing that brings these characters to life are the little side conversations that happen, such as Joel judging Ellie because she doesn't know how to whistle.
Are you alright?
We explore the town a bit until old Prolapse Face makes an explosive appearance, signaling us to watch out for traps. We climb up onto the roof of this building where I acquire the bow and break it in with a clicker kill. As we progress, I add another runner to the count and soon thereafter get my ankle tied up in one of Bill's many traps. Ellie races to cut through the rope, but that trap was hella loud, so now I have to eliminate some infected while hanging upside down. This moment leads to 2 deaths by clickers, which means I triple up on some kills and leave with 21 total. Finally, Ellie is able to cut me loose and Bill makes a timely entrance. The 3 of us blow this joint and enter a laundromat where more infected are pissed we interrupted their load cycles. I knock off 2 of them and we continue the sprint into a safe house where we get a brief respite. Super brief.
Hey, what are you... Joel?
Bill!
What are you doing?
Bill!
Bill's a paranoid individual, but in this world, can you really blame him? Joel asks for a car, but unfortunately for us, Bill doesn't have one readily available. Bill and Ellie continue their sassy back and forth.
Take all my food, too, while you're at it.
By the looks of it, you could lose some of that food.
Listen to me, you little shit.
No, fuck you!
Before we settle on a plan to scavenge for parts to get a vehicle up and running. We encounter some more infected, and because of Bill's traps, a chunk of them die, leaving me to mop up the remaining 3. A couple minutes later, we wind up in Bill's hideout where he harps on about this being the worst job Joel has ever taken on, because Bill's just a plain-ass hater.
Don't touch.
We suit up and leave towards the school where we expect to find the parts necessary to ship out of Boston. On my way to school to prove to Dad I'm not a fool, we travel through a graveyard and add 10 more bodies to it, then 12 more going through some dilapidated homes, and finally 11 more left stranded waiting for their parents to pick them up. As we get closer to the truck and its battery, a group of infected begin chasing us. I blast one with my shotgun as it gets too close, and then we climb into the school. Bill checks the truck, but the battery has been stripped from it, so we barricade ourselves inside and kill the infected. We enter the gymnasium where we're greeted by this fun guy. That right there is the Bloater, the stage 4 infected rocking thick fungal armor that has built up over years. You don't want this thing getting too close because the death animation is absolutely brutal. I eliminate this runner before landing the final blow on the Bloater, and then 3 more runners join the fight a little too late. Another one gets beaten down out back before we leave the school behind us for good. We enter a random home, and mid-argument, Bill suddenly stops as he eyes his partner who decided to make an early exit.
Reckon he didn't want to turn, so he...
Yeah, I guess not.
Seconds later, we hear Ellie attempting to start a car in the garage, but it won't start without a little push. Bill and Joel push the truck down the street with small skirmishes in between. Finally, the car starts and we let Bill out when it's safe. He tosses a parting gift to keep the vehicle gassed up and says his goodbye.
And get the fuck out of my town.
On the drive, Ellie wakes Joel up from his light nap and shows him the loot she stole from Bill's, including this magazine he surely kept around for the articles.
Why are these all stuck together?
Finally, we get to Pittsburgh, and thanks to Joel's experience, he sees right through the facade.
He ain't even hurt.
We don't get out of the situation easily as a bus slams into us and we crash into a convenience store where we're pulled out of the truck and they attempt to kill us. Joel Uno reverse cards this mofo and slices his neck with the glass. I won't add him or him since their deaths occurred in a cinematic after a defensive QuickTime event. I mop up the rest of these sorry fools who had some evil plans for us. Well, I have evil plans for these guys as I ruthlessly take out 5 of them and follow that up with another 17-person takedown. After some nice puns in Ellie's pun book, we watch as 2 hunters go into a hotel where we need to follow. The street is flooded, so Joel needs to help Ellie along due to her inability to swim. Naughty Dog continues to showcase their careful attention to detail with the realistic depiction of what cities would look like after civilization more or less died out.
This book called The World Without Us describes in detail how much fighting on a day-to-day basis we have to do to keep nature back.
We climb up into the hotel where a group of hunters resides. These are nasty people that we treat just as nastily by killing 13 of them. After all that violence is concluded, the only way up is through this elevator shaft. Wait, why are you jumping on this thing with all your weight instead of trying to climb down carefully? See, you should have been more careful. With Joel now stuck in the flooded levels of the hotel, we begin what's probably the scariest portion of the game as it introduces us to the Stalkers. They're stage 2 infected on their way to becoming full-blown clickers, and they do what their name entails. 4 Stalkers attempt to surprise me as I gather supplies before ringing the dinner bell. One gets blown in half by my nail bomb, and another 2 follow me upstairs as I sprint far away from the incoming bloater. I kill 4 additional hunters before one charges me and knocks me to the ground and attempts to drown me. But Joel's luck hasn't run out just yet because Ellie saves the day.
I shot the hell out of that guy, huh?
He's not as appreciative as he should be, and Ellie lets him know it.
Thanks for saving my ass.
Guilt seems to have changed Joel's mind because outside he hands her a larger gun and teaches her how to use it in one of the first major fatherly moments of the game. I climb down to take on a large group of hunters and this time do away with stealth as I choose to kill the lot of them noisily, with Ellie's help of course.
Got it.
Which finally convinces Joel to provide Ellie with a gun. We continue along, murdering 8 more guys before attempting to sneak around the souped up killer truck, which doesn't work as it spots me and forces me to shoot my way forward. In the back alley, I gun down more enemies and take shelter from the truck. We climb out of sight, only to be jumped as soon as we think we've reached safety. Joel goes apeshit on his attacker, but he stops when a gun is pointed at him. We're introduced to Henry and Sam, who are also taking shelter from the hunters that ambush their party entering the city. We accompany them to their hideout, keeping out of sight of the truck, awkwardly listening to Sam get scolded, and killing stray hunters along the way. The kids bond.
Ow.
A blueberry hurt you?
As Joel and Henry discuss their plan to find the fireflies and sneak out under the disguise of night. We head downstairs where Henry and I perform a duo attack and take out 6 more guarding the outside, but then the armored truck rolls in, forcing us to hurry over this semi. Henry panics and they bolt, stranding Joel down below. Ellie jumps down and we narrowly escape being turned into Swiss cheese. A handful of kills later, we exit out the other side of the bar as the truck breaks through and starts shooting at us, but we zig and zag until we come to a break in the bridge, and despite not knowing how to swim, Ellie jumps into the river below as Joel follows. He's able to grab onto her and keep her afloat, but gets knocked out in the process. We wash up on shore where our deserters greet us, but while Joel's pissed, he understands that Henry was just trying to protect his brother. It also helps that he saved him, and more importantly Ellie, from drowning. We move out, reunited, towards a rendezvous point for Henry's group and enter a grate where we find a location that was once occupied by a group of survivors. Through environmental storytelling, we find out they were overrun by infected and driven out of their shelter. As we progress through here, we take out a load of infected, including a section where we get split up, but this time with Sam at my side instead of Ellie.
This is awkward.
After disposing of them, we jump down in time to reunite with Henry and Ellie, but a pack of infected is on their heels. I lollygag a little too much and witness something I have never seen before, which doesn't count because it wasn't me. Sam unlocks the door from the other side and we run into a dead end. The kids can get through a small window, leaving the adults to fend off the incoming enemies. With traps and guns, we fight them off and exit this dump before being overwhelmed. We walk a little ways to end up in this overgrown neighborhood where I scavenge for supplies and tell Ellie stories of the world Joel grew up in.
Play real loud, creepy music, and kids would come running out to buy ice cream.
Man, you lived in a strange time.
But the peace doesn't last long when a sniper starts unloading at us. I kill the 9 guys standing between me and the spawn camper in the house at the end of the street. I reach the house and get ambushed, but Joel overpowers him and then hops on the rifle where I kill 17 hunters and then the driver and pitcher in this truck. I get a thumbs up from Ellie, but right after that some infected rush them, tackling Sam and Henry to the ground. I exceed 300 kills before abandoning the sniper nest and escaping out back with the rest. Finally, we reach the radio tower where the adults bond over motorcycles and the kids bond over fear?
What if the people are still inside? What if they're trapped in there without any control of their body?
Holy shit, dude, that's dark. Here's a toy. You can actually catch Ellie picking the toy up in the store after Henry tells Sam to leave it. Pretty cool detail there, Naughty Dog. Ellie goes to get some rest while Sam spikes the toy like an ungrateful brat. Oh. Wow, our hero's got some uninterrupted rest for once, but when Ellie goes to wake Sam up, he's already awoken on the wrong side of the bed and tackles Ellie to the ground. After some hesitation, Henry shoots his little brother, killing him, and in his grief blames Joel before joining his brother in yet another agonizing moment. After some silence, we skip forward to fall right outside of Jackson, Wyoming, where we hike through the woods and do a bit of swimming before trying to enter this gate. Some people are there to greet us with guns, but one of those guys is Tommy and his wife Maria. I leave Ellie with Maria while Joel and Tommy go to check on some men as they work to get turbines up and running so Jackson can have some electricity. On the way, I get to pet this good freaking boy before Joel and Tommy get into an argument and almost start throwing hands, because Joel aggressively tries to push Ellie off on Tommy due to his Firefly connection that he abandoned years ago. But right then, some bandits raid the complex, so I kill 16 of them, testing out my new powerful gun in the process. Ellie doesn't want to be handed off and runs away on a stolen horse, so we track her location, gunning down 6 more idiots on our way there. We approach the farmhouse and go inside, where Ellie learns of our first world problems, and have a very father-daughter spat.
You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
Well, damn, Joel, what the fuck? A few more guys interrupt our pleasant chat, only to be taken down with extreme prejudice. On our horseback ride to Jackson, Joel gets the necessary time to think about his words and decides to finish what he started and bring Ellie to the lab located in the fictional University of Eastern Colorado, which seems loosely based off of Colorado State University as they share the same large-horned mascot. The horse gets spooked, alerting us to the presence of some runners I silently take down. With them gone, we can ride through the campus until inevitably we hit another pack of monkeys. We end up hitting another roadblock that requires me to enter one of the campus buildings that has some unruly residents that I take 0 chances in killing. The real reason I stopped in here was to play some frickin' PlayStation, but the power's out, so taking home the little Naughty Dog Easter eggs will have to suffice. By now, Joel and Ellie are losing hope that the Fireflies are still present here, but we continue our search until eventually we discover the monkeys seen around the campus were infected with cordyceps and one of them bit a researcher, causing the Fireflies to abandon the lab and head further west to Salt Lake City, Utah. Right after we learn those details, Joel and Ellie are spotted by a hostile party. We backtrack and eliminate every person in our way, but one guy is particularly troublesome, pushing Joel back and causing both of us to fall to ground level, where Joel gets impaled through the abdomen by a rebar. Despite being horribly injured, I eliminate 2 more assholes as Ellie helps Joel back to the horse. But on our way, he loses too much blood and falls over. Fast forward to wintertime. We're late for a very important... Okay, never mind then. Then we take control of Ellie as she stalks a deer for food. After hitting it with a couple arrows, we track it to a seemingly abandoned town when Ellie hears a noise and comes face to face with a couple strangers. They offer to trade medicine for the meat, so they send the younger guy back to grab it while Ellie disarms the older gentleman and they wait inside the nearby cabin. We're introduced to David, a real sack of shit we'll learn more about in a bit. But then a clicker flies in and David pulls out a hidden pistol and guns it down. Using the rifle I commandeered from David, I add 13 to the count until David just flops over like a little bitch and forces me to replay a small portion that increases my kills. We make our getaway, but the catwalk is too rusted and breaks under Ellie, dropping me down into a clicker pit. I reunite with David and add an additional clicker on my way to knock down this ladder so we can gain entry to the stage of our final showdown with the infected swarm. I increase the total count to over 400 during this intense sequence, but David is that teammate and steals the bloater kill. After that battle, we set up around the campfire again when David starts getting real creepy.
The others had been slaughtered by a crazy man. And get this, he's a crazy man traveling with a little girl.
Nolan North, the voice of Nathan Drake, did an excellent job with David in this game.
Everything happens for a reason.
The younger guy comes back and gives Ellie the medicine as David makes an offer of protection, but Ellie's stranger danger alarm rings out, so she rides back to their shelter. We see Joel in basically a comatose state as Ellie injects the medicine and sleeps at his side, but when the morning hits, so does some bad news. David's group tracked her down, so she leads them away from Joel to protect him, but horses aren't very sneaky creatures. We gallop off, dodging bullets and brave morons that jump in the horse's way until one of them shoots the horse, sending Ellie tumbling. I add 15 of these fuckfaces to the count before David ambushes Ellie and successfully captures her. When we wake up, we observe a human body being butchered in front of us, and then David offers some spaghetti and meatballs, claiming the meat is just deer.
With some human helping on the side?
Yeah, maybe just don't eat the meat, Ellie. Oh, well, gross. And then just when you think this mofo couldn't get any creepier. Hell yeah, Ellie, mess that dude up. As satisfying as that was, David leaves with a rather ominous illusion when we cut back to Joel waking up all by himself. He doesn't get too much time by his lonesome, however, as 6 of those cannibals are outside and can't wait to be added to the count. Another couple guys ambush Joel, but he's in angry dad mode and kicks both their asses and ties them up inside for questioning. Here is when we see how incredibly brutal Joel can be when he feels like he needs to. We cut back to Ellie as they bring her out of her cage when she bites David right in his stupid thumb and stalls their dismemberment efforts by saying she's infected. They reveal her bite mark, which distracts them just long enough for Ellie to make her getaway. Unarmed and stranded in a hostile environment while a blizzard rages on, we sneak around, killing a couple guys until we obtain a weapon that enables us to add more cannibalistic trash to the tally. And just when we think we're in the clear, David pulls the same old trick and rounds the corner, but this time he doesn't try for the chokehold and locks the door behind him as a fire ignites. Over the course of a few minutes, we play cat and mouse, avoiding this creep and stabbing him before running off. After the third prick, both of us go lights out as we take control of Joel again in search of Ellie. I kill 9 more guys before finding Ellie's backpack in the same vicinity of these hanging bodies. Joel exits outside near the burning building when the screen goes dark, and we cut back to Ellie as she and David wake up. We slowly crawl towards the machete David dropped, but he grabs hold of Ellie's throat.
You have no idea what I'm capable of.
You're capable of dying, you scumbag! Even though it goes against the rules I established earlier in the video, considering how much of a villain he is, I have to add Mr. Canapetto to the count. Joel grabs hold of Ellie and finally fully embraces her as if she is one of his own.
Oh, baby girl. It's okay.
It's spring now, and we're in Salt Lake City for the final stretch. We head towards St. Mary's Hospital, where the Fireflies are supposedly holed up, and along the way encounter some truly majestic creatures. Ha! I didn't need your stupid stuffed animal, girl! Before moving on, Joel offers to take Ellie and head back to Jackson, Wyoming and forget the whole thing, but she's eager to push forward. And so we do just that and enter a tunnel occupied by lots of infected that we spend several minutes clearing out. I torch the final clicker of the game before we do some basic platforming that dislodges this bus. Joel is unable to climb up in time, causing Ellie to jump on it and attempt to help Joel out of there. The raging water is too much to handle though, knocking Ellie unconscious, and as we try to revive her, some dickhead slams a button to his head for the second time this game. Joel wakes up next to Marlene in the hospital, and when he requests to see Ellie, she declines, saying she's being prepped for surgery. The cordyceps mutated within her and needs to be removed to reverse engineer a vaccine, but the only problem is it grows on the brain, meaning the removal will certainly kill her. Joel does not want that to happen, and neither does Marlene, but Marlene believes a vaccine is more important than one girl's life. Joel, however, does not agree, which is why he kills this guy, and we grab our weapons and battle our way through 27 Fireflies in order to reach the operating room. We bust in and kill the doctor in cold blood, which will come back to him years later. Joel takes Ellie in his arms and escapes into the elevator. Marlene meets him in the parking garage and tries to convince him to hand her over, bringing up very valid points, but Joel has fully embraced parenthood again and shoots Marlene, potentially dooming humanity because of selfish but relatable reasons. On the drive out of the city, Ellie awakens in the backseat and asks what happened. Joel lies, saying there are dozens of immune people out there, but a cure still isn't possible. They reach Jackson, and before heading into town, Ellie demands Joel swear he's telling the truth about what went down in Utah.
Swear to me! I swear.
Ellie looks doubtful but accepts it when the credits roll and we click into the final numbers. I finished the game with 426 kills and 3 deaths as Joel, and 71 kills and 0 deaths as Ellie, bringing my total to 497, with 91 of those being stealth kills. Despite the infected being such a large part of the game, I came out of it with a larger chunk of my kills being human. We truly are the real monsters, aren't we? That makes my total kill-death ratio 165.7. I completed the game in 14.5 hours, which gives me a kill on average every 1.8 minutes and a death every 290 minutes. The Last of Us just might be my favorite series of all time. It's a masterpiece of storytelling in the video game space and one of the few games to have a real emotional impact on me. Even years and several playthroughs later, it still feels like a gut punch when I watch that final scene with Sam and Henry. The discussion this game has generated on whether or not Joel did the right thing still continues on today, and it's something I'm really looking forward to seeing in the HBO series next year. What did you all think? Do you side with Joel or not? Sound off in the comments because I'd love to know everyone's thoughts on this one. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button because I'll return next time with the Left Behind DLC. I'm King Deschain, signing off for now.